Hi, me again. Today, the word stuttering came to me. Stuttering is something that I used to live with, and I thought I should come on here and give my, I guess, testimonial around me stuttering and how I stopped stuttering, and with the hope it will help somebody. I know some people they stutter and they're confident still in who they are, and that's good. I actually admire those people, but then there's also those that actually stutter, and it lowers their confidence. And I know that happened to me. So let me share a little story. So I've as far as I knew, I had always stuttered from a little child up until my, I think, late 20s. Now, apparently, my father used to say that I was always putting it on. Apparently, I didn't used to stutter. I don't know. I was a little bitty child. And when I acknowledge myself as a stutterer, and why does that even stand out to me? Because I remember in school I was picked on. At home I was picked on by my sibling, a specific sibling always used to laugh at me and take the mick. Um, yeah, so that's what my parents used to say, that I didn't used to stutter. Apparently, I mimicked someone. Then all of a sudden, that doesn't make sense. If I'm copying someone, you just copy that person in the moment. You don't pick up a stutter from copying someone. That doesn't make sense, because that's actually your brain. I haven't gone into the science of this, but obviously there's something going on in the brain structure why someone is not able to formulate their words um, without the. I don't know how to explain it, to be honest. I might have to do a part two on stuttering around the science of it. But yeah, but obviously there's something going on in the brain that hinders you from formulating the words in a timely manner, I guess, and having it sound and having you breathe normal. So yes, I used to get bullied at home by one of my siblings. In school, I used to get picked on about it, and I used to hate reading in class. I hated English when it came to reading out loud, and I would always, I would always read at my lowest, just so soft, to the extent the person sitting next to me couldn't even hear me. So I'd be lucky if I would have read a paragraph, and then the teacher would be like, "Okay, that's enough. So and so read." Because yeah, my brain goes into the function of everyone's listening, and the fact that I naturally stutter, it brings a level of anxiety. And yeah, so I remember going through college, not going through college, leaving secondary school, having to go to college. And now it got to the point where I had to be calling up these colleges to get a prospectus. I don't know if that's what you guys use today, but that's what they call them in my. I mean, today everything's online, so it might be a bit telling. But I did tell you in one of my videos I'm from Gen Z, so there you go. Anyway, so so I would have to call up colleges to get prospectuses to get signed on different courses. Initially I wanted my older sister to help me, but she used to always encourage me. I gotta appreciate her for that. She always used to say, "Go on, you can do it, you can do it." I'm like, I can't. She said, you can. And I used to take the biggest deep breath and told myself I can do it, and call the number, and then the person will pick up and I say, "Hello, da 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 da. How can I help you?" And I'm on the other end with, can't get the hello out. All this is like there's a blockage in the throat. And now I know about chakras. Obviously, my throat chakra was literally shut down, I could say. But I literally couldn't get the word out. Now, sometimes the person at the end would be patient enough to wait for me to say hello. Because sometimes they may hear the, the breathing behind it. And then there's others, they will start laughing, which will make me feel away, and then I'd hang up. Or they just didn't hear, did I say that bit already? They wouldn't hear they would think no one's in there, and then they'd hang up. And that used to really annoy me, because the fact that they're laughing at me is like, ah. And I'd be like saying to my sister, please, can you call me? And I said, no, come on, you've got to do it, because when you go out in the world, you're going to have to be speaking for yourself. I'm not going to be there all the time. And I was thinking, oh my God, you're so true. So I would attempt again, and I told myself, if they laugh, I'm just going to ignore them. So I remember I called up again, and they say, hello, da, 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 how can I help you? And I'd be like, hello, and I'd get the word out. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay, they're still there. And even if they laughed, I just ignored it. Sometimes no one laughed. Sometimes I didn't hear anyone laughing, whether they were or not. It's another question. And then I was able to do what I had to do. So yeah, so that was a little bit of a practice speaking to strangers on the phone, but it was the most daunting thing. One thing I missed out as well, as a child growing up, you would know from one of my previous videos that I was raised in church, and every Sunday morning we had Sunday devotion, where my dad would call us down, where we all read the Bible and pray together. And I used to hate it, because we all had to read a portion of the Bible, of the scriptures, and including me. And every time it came to me, I remember I would just get beats for stuttering. I would get beats, and my dad would literally hit me, come on, get it told, get it told. And it was so traumatizing. I hated going down to Bible study or to prayer meeting and reading. Sometimes I used to pretend that I was in deep sleep and I never woke up, but then he would come up and make sure we were down there. But yeah, he always used to beat me for stuttering. For reading, he thought that was going to help the stutter to go, but that just made me not want to speak. So yeah, so that kind of added mental trauma around speech for me. And so then, as I said to you, coming into college when I was 16, having to go in to learn how to approach the world with my stutter. That's 16. And then again, obviously 17, 18, continuing on. It was the hardest thing ever. I just thank God when I used to sing, that was probably the only way that I could really get sound out smoothly, no stuttering. I wouldn't stutter when I sang. Some people thought it was strange, but I don't know. I think you use a different part of your brain probably when you're singing to when you're speaking. And so, yeah, but I was always a reader as well. I always read books. I kind of lost myself reading books growing up. I wasn't really allowed to go out and have friends, so I always lost myself in a good story. And one day in my 20s, I just got to the point where I realized I'm really tired of speaking with a stutter. And I just thought, I think someone actually told me, I think I was in college one day, and there was a lady, I was around 16, 17, I think she was about 13. She told me to just breathe. Don't rush, just breathe. So, and I can't remember her name. I think her name was Brenda. I don't know if she's still around. hope she is. She was a lovely lady, and I really appreciate it. I don't think she actually knows the impact that she had on my life in college. She actually helped me with my confidence a lot. So I don't know if this video would ever reach Brenda, but if it ever did, Brenda, and if you recognize me, because I look so different now. But if you ever went to Hackney College, Performing Arts, you're the Brenda I'm talking about. Back in the 80s. I really, really, was it the 80s or 90s? Early 90s, around that time. Yeah, so having said that, so I always used to put that thought process in my mind when I was speaking. Like, slow down, breathe. Occasionally it would work, but a lot of time it still didn't. I would still stutter. And it was really horrible at home because the sister that always took the mick out of me, she was always waiting for me to stutter. And I used to have such a bad stutter to the extent where I had to sometimes stomp my feet or hit my hand on a table or a door, whatever's nearby, just for the force to come out, for the word, to force the words out, sorry. And she loved that. She took them. Some of you listen to this maybe even laughing. And I can laugh about it now, but I can tell you it was mentally traumatizing. I hated speaking. Long story short, yes, I told you so. I always read, and then one day I was reading and I thought, maybe if I practice reading out loud, I can practice speaking more smooth and fluidly. So I started doing that. It wasn't the same for me though, because when I used to read in silence, I could take in the story. So what I would do, I'd have a practice session just for the speaking, and then I'd go back and read it over in my mind when I want to actually take on the storyline. And yes, I would practice, I think every day I'd read a page, and it was hard. It was hard at first, but I would push myself through, just me in my bedroom. I'd push myself through reading. And then, yeah, I was just practicing. And I've got to be honest, I don't even know at what point my brain clicked and stopped, and I stopped stuttering. I remember, I think I was in my late 20s by then. I remember I was having a conversation with someone, and after I said what I said, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't stutter. Because trust me, I used to stutter like, and the breathing, it was always the breathing, just couldn't get the air up with the sound. I just couldn't make them synchronize somehow. I also got to give it up to, now he's well known, but he doesn't have the best name publicly right now, but that's none of my business, and that's not what this is about. Because as I said as well, once I was raised in church, and I remember one time I was at what is called a conference. It was at a church here in the UK. I'm not going to put the name out, but it was an American bishop that came to the UK for this conference that was happening at this church. It wasn't my church. And he preached on, it's really bizarre. If there was any sermon that entitled that I remember in all the years that I was ever in church, and I was in church for 30 odd years, this is the only sermon title that I actually remember. It was called A Stutter and a Stick. A Stutter and a Stick. And it was about Moses having a speech impediment. And so obviously now he's talking about Moses and his speech impediment. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Moses had a speech impediment. And the message was basically saying how Moses wasn't confident, but regardless of his impediment, God saw it fit to use him. And so basically it's a case of, if we're in society and we feel like we're no good because we feel like we have some form of disability, no, you still have use, you still have purpose. So that was what the message was. And I was thinking, oh, okay, cool. But the point of the message, what really got me and empowered me, about 20 minutes in, now he probably preached for about an hour. About 15, 20 minutes in to the sermon, he started to give a demonstration of how you can have an impediment and still deliver what you need to deliver. And what he did, he literally, now this man does not stutter in his normal day-to-day life, but he's about 15, 20 minutes in, he decided to stutter the message. I thought he was just going to stutter probably for a couple minutes, a couple lines, and go back to normal. But he literally stuttered the remaining message, which would have been what, a good 40, 45 minutes. Literally, I was like, okay, is this man going to go back to normal? Is this? And literally, we all got the message. The message was very powerful for me, especially, and I guess for a lot of people that maybe transfer that message over to something else, a different type of ability that they feel they have problems with. So I am thankful for that bishop. I'm not going to send a name out, but he's well known in America and here. Yeah, so with that as well, I was very encouraged that, do you know what? I may have a stutter, but I can still do what I need to do. So that gave me a bit of confidence and hope that I will be able to function in life. But as I said, I didn't really like it. I didn't really like the stuttering. And as I said, the mental trauma from my family members as well. So I practiced reading. And one day, I think I was in my late 20s, I realized I spoke without stuttering. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't stutter no more. But the funny thing is, as I made that realization and then I was continuing the conversation, I started stuttering again. Now, I think it's because I was so conscious. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to stutter, that I started stuttering again. But then I noticed I would still stutter every now and again. So the fact that I identified that, I thought, okay, remember what Brenda said. Just take a deep breath and just breathe and then just speak slowly, because I would always speak fast. And I would literally speak fast actually just to get the words out. Try and force the words out. And but I think that didn't really help with my brain. A lot of conflict. I might then get the words back to front, the sentence back to front. It was, yeah, there was a lot going on. But yeah, I eventually managed to, yes, I started to incorporate that in my practice. And then I remember my first time when I started a job and I was told I would have to start training colleagues to use the system. And I'm like, oh, I tell myself, no, okay, I'll be okay. It'll be good practice. So one day I was told to attend a training session that one of my main colleagues was attending and training, facilitating rather. And I was told to come just to watch and observe to see how she facilitates the training. So I thought, okay, cool. She went halfway through the training and then she turned to me and she said to me, finish the rest of this training, and she walked out of the room. And I'm like, what? What are you doing? She never give me no heads up that she was going to give me a piece of the training session to train the users. And I'm thinking, what the hell? What the hell? So I attempted to continue on. But as I was continuing on, I felt the nerves, the anxiety was boiling up inside me. And I was trying to do that. Calm down. Talk, internal talk, trying to talk myself down, calm down, you'll be all right. But as I was doing that, my words was coming out as a stutter, and the breathing kind of sound that reminded me of that guy. The way I just did that reminded me of that guy on that singing competition. who tried to sing Hallelujah, but that's anyway. You're gonna go and Google that now, aren't you? It's on YouTube. But yeah, I was attempting to do this training session, and there was a lady sitting right in front of me, and she was just like, just laughing. I was thinking, oh my gosh, damn. I was like, seriously? So I just ignored her. But I was offended. And I tried to continue and just try to take my time in breathing. And I tell you, when at the end of that session, when I got back to my car, I said, how, you never tell me? I was so annoyed. But at the same time, I was kind of happy that I got through that experience. And I think it probably would have gone better if she had given me a heads up, because then I could have mentally prepared myself. But she didn't. So now that so now that I had done it. Sorry, my grammar is terrible. I thought, do you know what? I done it, and I can do it. So now I had these training sessions that I had to facilitate. So I also utilize these sessions now to develop my confidence in speaking. One, speaking without stuttering. Two, and three, to build up my confidence. And it's so funny because years later, I don't have, I mean, I'm from London. We all speak all kind of ways. For some people, the way I speak, I don't speak proper English. Well, I'm not an English person anyway, as you can say. And yeah, I would always get different, different things from different people. Oh, you speak like this, or you speak like that. Oh, you're a bit posh, or you're not posh. You don't speak like you don't. There's always some. You're never ever pleasing anyone. It's like, shut up. you know. I say all this. I share all this to. Let me just Sorry, my alarm was about to go off, and I didn't want it to. didn't want it to go off on the recording. So yeah, I say all this for those of you that's out there watching this that has a stutter or has some form of something that is not deemed as perfect in the eyes of society, which sometimes where they judge us to say, oh, you're like this, so you're no good. No, we all have our worth, regardless of whatever type of impediment we may have. Some people would say to me that I don't speak clear, but in comparison to where I came from, to me, I speak very clear. Now, I know sometimes I don't pronounce my words very clearly or precisely, and that's just what it is at the end of the day. I need to have better diction. My dictation is a lot better for singing. But yeah, I just want to encourage anyone that has a stutter, that feels that they just want to lock themselves in their shell, hide in their shell because of their speech or any other type of thing that you feel stands out, to the extent where people may laugh at you or mock you or just belittle you. I just want to encourage you, ignore them. This is your fight, and within your impediment is your strength. So I'm just here to encourage people, never let a disability or something that appears to be a disability, never allow that to take over. Don't let that take over. You are more than your disability, if you want to call it that. So that's all I wanted to share today. So I hope I've helped to encourage someone today, and have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.